Last summer, my wife and I had the pleasure of visiting New York City for a couple of days before going on a cruise. One of the things we visited was the High Line, an elevated abandoned railway line in Manhattan. I'm going to go into the history. Hope I don't bore you too much with it. And then followed by that will be a slideshow showing what it looks like today in the areas that we saw. Hope you enjoy. In the 1840s, the west side of Manhattan was the country's busiest industrial waterfront. And it was serviced, of course, by trains, mainly by the New York Central Railway. Unfortunately, these trains all ran at street level. And by the 1850s, it was becoming a bit of a chronic problem with the number of accidents and deaths on the rise. It became so bad that the whole railway corridor was referred to as Death Avenue. It got so bad that New York Central ended up hiring some guys on horseback called West Side Cowboys, and they would ride in front of the trains to warn pedestrians to get out of the way. Finally, in 1929, a massive infrastructure project began. The New York Central started to build a massive elevated railway line, which would eliminate 105 street-level railway crossings and definitely improve the safety of the area. In 1934, the High Line opened as an active freight rail line. It ran all the way from West 34th Street to St. John's Park Terminal. It's elevated about 30 feet above the ground, and it serviced the various warehouses and factories by using the upper floor loading docks. By the 1960s, railways were in overall decline with the use of the interstate highway system and the growth of the trucking industry. The High Line eventually started being taken apart. First, the southernmost 9 blocks of the High Line from Clarkson Street to Bank Street were demolished. That occurred in the 1960s, and then quite a bit later in the 1990s, a 5-block section was also taken apart from Bank Street to Gansevoort Street. The last train actually ran in 1980, 3 measly carloads of frozen turkey. Over the next 2 decades, the High Line sat unused, with all kinds of nature beginning to reclaim it, seeds blowing in, and also from birds and insects, and before you knew it, a lot of greenery was showing up on the High Line. In 1999, a group of volunteers got together and started to plan how to preserve this wonderful site and turn it into something more. In 2002, the city of New York got involved and they reversed the decision to demolish it. And in 2005, CSX donated the southern portion. Finally, in 2009, the first portion of the High Line was open to the public, with the final phase being done in 2019. So here's a slideshow. Sit back and enjoy. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw and wish to see more content on model trains and real trains, please subscribe to my channel.